Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Hello? Hi, can you hear me? Okay, we won't be having a long tutorial today, seeing as though we only have one person, so I'm just going to go through the lesson content about your your assignment that is due. I'm not sure when it's due, but it is sometime soon. And for those of you who are going to view it later, as I'm sure this will be for you. Um, so yeah, we'll start off. I'm sure you can see the screen share. This is to do with your speech that you're going to do. So I'll just give you a few minutes to go through that and look at it. Just so that you get an understanding of where it is that we're going. Okay. So we've got the, you guys know you need to select a topic, obviously, and you've chosen your topic. You went to your church pastor or your community school, and you've decided on the criteria of the topic, what the speech is going to be about. You've decided what the content of the topic is, and these are just some things that you need to consider where that topic is concerned. So firstly, it's the criteria for the speech. It's the autobiography, the interests of yourself, how you're feeling about certain topics, what interests you. Secondly, we're looking in terms of your audience. What is your audience like? What are the demographics? Where is it located? What age are they? What are they into? That sort of things. What previous knowledge do you have about your audience? What is the attitudes and the motivations and the values of your audience? And then how committed is your audience to your cause and what it is that you are speaking about? So those are certain things that you'll be looking at. You need to also find out what's the occasion, the time, and the date. What's the purpose of the speech, obviously. And then your specific topic, you need to decide whether it's worthwhile speaking about, whether it's appropriate, whether it's interesting for those who will be listening. That's where it ties in back to your audience again. And then lastly, what available information you have concerning a topic. So this is how you go about selecting a topic. If you haven't selected one just yet, I'm sure that you should have selected one just yet, but if you haven't, or you're still busy fine-tuning it, then this current slide will help you select a topic. You would obviously write down the main topic, which will be obviously broad, and then you'll think about which aspects of that topic would be most appropriate for you, firstly, and secondly, your audience. From there, you'll think about the name and write down a specific context in which you're going to communicate this topic, and then any other further aspects that you need to work through or decide or things like that. And you can do this with various topics until you've reached until you have reached your sort of until you have peace with the topic that you had sorry. So you can just go through that as many times as you would like. Then going further, we spoke about rhetoric as well, the way you speak, the way you persuade your audience, the three aspects that you need to make sure are present is how you're going to convince your audience, what emotion you're going to draw on, and how you're going to make your topic relevant and logical to your audience. So it's how you're going to convince your audience, what emotions are you going to draw on, and how you're going to bring this in a logical and sensible way. So that's for that. Organizing your ideas are very important. You can find it in the Gamble reading, chapter 15, on how in communication, how the various ideas that you put together are important in effectively communicating the idea or the specific topic that you want to bring across. So you have your main idea, and then in that main idea you'll have various subordinate ideas or subtopics. So you need to give order and structure to them, almost like a introduction, body, conclusion kind of way, so that it flows in a logical sense. Going back to the logos part of your rhetoric, making sure that it flows in a logical sense. Moving on. Yeah, this is just what I spoke about. You'll have an introduction. You'll have a preview, which basically gives the audience a preview of the main topics that you're going to speak about. And then you'll have your main body, and this is the part of the speech where you would elaborate on the key ideas which you have decided on. And then obviously your conclusion is where you wrap up everything that you've said. Yeah, the main ideas are the main parts of a speech. Then obviously you get the subtopics where you amplify and elaborate on the main ideas of the speech. In order for your main idea to be effective, you need to make sure that it's chronological, spatial, it elaborates on cause and effect, speaks about problem and solution, that it's topical, that it speaks to the specific topic that you are speaking about and that you don't go off on a tangent, and that it's non-traditional in that it's not the same old, and people are able to draw new and fresh ideas, contemporary ideas therefrom. So in your introduction, your main point is to grab your audience's attention. So try not to make your introduction boring and bland. Try and be creative, make it exciting so that before you've started, that you grab them instead of losing them. Further, your preview. This is where you're letting your audience know what you are discussing. Make sure your preview is also exciting and interesting so that you grab them again. Not grab them again, but you keep them interested in your preview. Then obviously in your main body, your main objective there would be to communicate your ideas and what it is that you have said to your audience. And then further is your conclusion, which is like a preview but in reverse, where you look back at what you've said and you summarize it in key points and try and leave them with certain key points and phrases that they will remember, because you must understand they might not remember your entire speech, but they might remember certain sentences or certain phrases that you've used. Typical example, John Piper likes to use the phrase, God is most satisfied in you. Sorry, God is most glorified in you and you are most satisfied in him. And that is something that the audience is left with and it sticks with them. And it usually relates to the topic that is spoken about. So think of some good catchphrases and sentences that you can speak about in your conclusion of your speech. Okay, then putting it into practice. This is developing your speech. These are the 4 topics that you've been given. You're obviously going to choose the topic that you have written your interview assignment on. So make sure that you've refined your topic. Make sure that you've also chosen the topic that has already, you can't choose a different topic to the actual topic that you wrote about. So it needs to be the same topic, but instead you will now fine-tune it and choose a specific aspect of that topic. Going further, what is communication? This goes right back to the beginning of the module, and it will be helpful for you to consider this because this will enable you to develop a speech that will end in being an effective communication so that you know what the aspects of communication you know what the hindrances of communication are, and you are able to work according to that, if that makes sense. So let's move on from that. You're going to look at the 5 axioms of communication. You're going to take that into consideration while putting your speech together. I'm sure you should know this by now because you've written about it quite a bit and it's been done since the beginning of the course already. So that shouldn't be too much of a problem for you. You obviously know what culture is already. You're going to take this into consideration as well. And once you've understood that, you're going to think about what it is that we speak about when we say cross-cultural communication, because you know now what communication is. You know now what culture is, and you are incorporating that knowledge into your speech. The reason why we've given you all this is because this is going to make your speech all the more effective and will have a greater impact on your audience when you have understood fully what the aspects of communication are and what it means to communicate to a different culture. So there we have it. I'm not going to read through that again. You guys know that. That's just for you to consider when putting your speech together. And then identifying expectations. We spoke about this as well. Various expectations, when they are not met, they lead to disappointment and you feel violated or unfulfilled. And you must understand that when you speak to your audience, they are going to come with a certain expectation. So it's important for you to, even before you've delivered your speech, for you to understand or have a knowledge of what the expectation of your audience is, so that you are able to prepare your speech in a way that you will fulfill and meet their expectations, if that makes sense. So take careful note of expectations. And that is it. Hopefully you guys will have planned your speech already. You guys will have some sort of, oh, what's going on here? There we go. You guys will have some sort of idea of where you're going, what you want to do, what you want to speak about. Take consideration, careful consideration, what we've just played in this today, not played, what I've just highlighted to you in this tutorial today, because it's going to be very, very effective in helping you with putting together your speech and developing an effective, convincing speech. And make sure to document the process well, even where you've done bad, even where you've made mistakes, even this or that. Make sure you've documented it and you've put it into the rest of your assignment so that we can see, okay, this is what you have identified. We're not going to mark you down if you identified a weakness or something negative that you could have done positively. It's actually good for you to be able to highlight those things so that you know that that's an area that you need to work on. Otherwise, other than that, good luck. We're hoping for the best. For those of you who have either submitted assignments late or have not submitted, I'm sure you've heard the news by now that we are allowing you a certain period and a certain time to actually submit those things, but it will be at the 20% penalty because it's late or it's either not being submitted, but we are giving you another chance to submit. So just make sure all your assignments are in, otherwise you will not be able to continue in your course, and it's just very unfortunate. So we're doing this because we don't want to see a high failure rate of students. So just try and make sure that you get your assignments together. Make sure you've handed in assignment 1, assignment 2, assignment 3, and obviously you're going to hand in assignment 4. Make sure that you've got all of it handed in before the end of the term so that you can at least prepare yourself well to pass the first semester. Other than that, good luck, have a good weekend, have a good week further, and all the best with your assignment. God bless you.